This time I will tell you a film whose daily life goes the other way around, titled Opposite Day, which was released in 2009. The film opens by showing a laboratory led by a man named Godfrey. With all his extraordinary imagination, Godfrey always makes various strange experiments. One is to let an adult monkey to communicate with a monkey that is still a baby. If successful, this will also be applied to humans and will be a remarkable discovery. But what happened was not the success obtained, but the adult monkey even looked like a human baby. After that, it immediately changed again to the activities of everyone in the urban area. The civilian workers, the firefighters, and also the activities of adults have always been in the spotlight in this urban area. At first everything seemed as is what we often see in everyday life. Adults are busy with their own activities, while young children busy to play or go to school. In this film, we will focus on the siblings named Shemi and Carla. They also have a playmate named Shu and Jasper. Her mother Shemi and Carla are already very close to her mother Shu in one company. Unlike Jasper, where his father worked as a policeman and was very busy to spend time with himself. It wasn't long before came the boy named Chest. It turns out that Chest is the son of Professor Godfrey, who we saw at the beginning of the film. Chest said he always hoped that his father could take the time to play with him. But what's more, his father was always busy with activities in the laboratory until he was no longer well monitored. After telling the story, Chest was also made even more sad when very much cared for by their parents. Likewise, Shemi and Carla are clearly visible that they were both picked up by their mother, Dennis. Upon arriving home, Shemi and Charla were already awaited by their grandparents, who intended to take a vacation together. Not only grandparents, they will also be accompanied by a father named Robert. But suddenly, Robert could not go on vacation because he still had to accompany Dennis, who also did not participate because he was busy with activities in the office. What can be done is that Shemi or Carla can only take a vacation with the grandfather and the grandmother without the presence of both their parents. But they were still happy that their grandparents often made jokes. On the other hand, Chest had just been picked up by his father, who didn't remember the time. After being picked up, Godfrey did not immediately drive Chest to the house, but instead took his son into the laboratory. It turned out that Godfrey wanted to pursue a project that a client had been waiting for, where the client will pay a high price if Godfrey manages to get him interested in one of the products that are ready to use, be it an automatic boxing tool, a delivery bird, a human freezer, and also a machine that is being developed by Godfrey. And as it turned out, the client was more interested in the machine, even though so far no significant results could be shown to him. Though another situation, Shemi and also Carla just prepared ready to go to bed. But Shemi wasn't right with the orders of his grandparents, but instead he prayed that a little boy could rule the world as quickly as possible. Yes, who would have thought that soon that hope would be realized when Godfrey deliberately put Chests into his latest machine, which Godfrey hoped that Chest can understand baby language. And vice versa with babies who understand Chest language. But unfortunately the experiment failed, until the gas cylinder that was in the engine leaked in an instant. It didn't take long for it to be clear that all the gas had spread throughout the city, and even strange things started to happen inside the laboratory. Chest saw the adults even acting like children, including with his own father, who felt terrified and called Chest by the name of father. It didn't stop there. Suddenly Chest also mastered all the knowledge possessed by Godfrey, and all of that he could operate in a conscious state, while accompanied by various children from the crew who were in the laboratory. Chest finally know that the personality parents is already confused with the personality of their children. This immediately made his grandfather Shemi and Charla terror and wonder why young children had worked as traffic controllers. Uniquely, there is also a small child who is seen carrying a car of the child or sitting in the back like they are being invited to walk around. Only then did the strangeness become more apparent, in which Shemi was immediately surprised that his prayer come true in some time. It's just that for some reason, the incident didn't happen to the grandparents of the two of them. In fact, one city has been controlled by young children, where all parents start activities while become an important part of various community activities, including dominating all the work of the elders. In other words, all of that happens automatically. It doesn't matter who their parents are and what job they will be in. At the same time, bad things started to happen to Shemi and Charla after their vehicle was even pulled over by a policeman. The policeman said that if a young child is not allowed to drive anything, let alone violate, it will be a problem for his grandfather to be, because he can only wonder why he can be called a child. But it actually opened his mind, Shemi, where he concluded that all young children had seen adults as young children and vice versa. It was clear that this could not be immediately accepted by the common sense possessed by Charla. But yes, I don't know how else the fact that the event actually happened is not obvious in all corners of the city. After a deeper investigation, it turned out that the policeman did not accept the act of driving underage. Ended up the two of them having to participate in the court hearing while accompanied by a lawyer. But what's more, the lawyer's defense wasn't neither the grandmother nor the grandfather had to be jailed for 25 years. In addition, Shemi and also Charla are not allowed to meet with their grandparents. It is not known for sure what the reason is, but what is clear is that Jasper, aka their friend, both intends to drive Shemi and Charla back home. Upon arriving home, Shemi began to be confused as to why this house was really messy. But it turned out that both of their parents had behaved also as young children and even called them both father and mother. From here, I'm not surprised anymore, because they want to be able to feel the opposite day as well as possible. It starts with scolding both their parents. Take their parents to play as well as prepare some dishes for them. After Robert and Dennis were happy with the whole activity, then Shemi and also Charla deliberately drove their parents to bed on time. It doesn't feel like a whole day they have passed with activities like parents. It can even be said that they not only feel what it's like to be a parent, but they also feel what it's like to take care of a small child. After the day changed, Robert and Dennis immediately invited the two of them to play again. But it's unfortunate because Charla couldn't obey the invitation after Shu deliberately came to her house. Which is where Shu reminds Charla that today there is a meeting in the office and Charla must prepare the presentation materials as well as possible, which makes Charla can only surrender. Meanwhile, Shemi itself must continue to take care of Robert and Dennis be arranged at all. As a result, Shemi immediately invited his parents to go on a walk around the city. Then we go back to the Charla who has arrived at her place of work. All corners of this office are controlled by young children, including with Charla, who are very busy on this day. Moreover, her presence has been awaited by the company's top brass. In addition to Shemi's situation that had been waiting for both parents to play, they began to feel bored with the activity. Unfortunately, there was nothing he could have at the point that Shemi deliberately went to a nearby cafe. It was in that cafe that Shemi accidentally got the news from one of the bartenders. Yang confided that his two children were very naughty. Obviously, the event is very unimportant to Shemi himself, especially after he saw that Chest wanted to extend this reverse day until it spread throughout the world permanently. Feeling that the news was not a good sign, Shemi immediately invited his parents to go to Godfrey's laboratory. Upon arriving at the laboratory, Robert and Dennis were immediately deposited into the children's playroom. Meanwhile, Shemi busy monitoring the activities of the chest itself. Unfortunately, Shemi movements began to be suspicious for the whole worker, and the existence of Shemi was of course no longer safe. But luckily his parents, who were playing, managed to be picked up by Shemi and quickly rushed to home and tell the news to Charla, who was busy preparing dinner dishes for both of their parents. Then the two of them went directly to the police station to ask Jasper for help. But who would have thought, it turned out that Jasper had already cooperated with Chest, which ended up with both could not do much. Likewise, Robert and Dennis are like children and don't understand what is. But amazingly, even though like a child, Robert still ventured to free Shemi as well as the Charla. For this release, Charla was immediately helped by Godfrey. Godfrey told his father's location was in another room, and it really helped Shemi along with Charla. It was in this position that as much as possible the two of them melted Chest's heart so that he would know how important the existence of parents was. Chest is also advised that all children should enjoy their childhood before they grow into adult human beings. In the end they managed to melt Chest's heart, which was beginning to become fragile. However, there is one way to restore this event, which is to spread the gas that had leaked so that it will be inhaled by everyone again. It didn't take long, because of the already scattered gases, that the situation began to look back to the normal, in which the personality of each person instantly turned around as it was before. The next day Shemi and Charla also rushed for the holidays with their parents and picked up their grandmother and also their grandfather, who was still in jail, and the movie ended. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, see you in the next video.